Hello and welcome to Stampscapes Saturday. I haven't been doing very much stamping the past 2 weeks because I've been doing just a bunch of chores and things like that. So I needed to get some time in here with some really quick applications of stamps, and there's nothing a whole lot quicker than starting off with your printed textured papers here, be it whatever they are. So I need to get some more samples down using this type of material here. So I'm going to go for a little bit of repetition, and I don't know, I figured if anyone wants to jump in or if anyone's around, that would be great. Okay, so the wood grain paper, it's just a placemat paper, and some of it will be in a a horizontal configuration, and some I might use in a vertical kind of configuration right here. So it's kind of fun because all these pieces here, the quarter size sheets, are in different types of patterns. And I'm sure what they did was just scan some actual piece of wood, and to me it looks really quite realistic here. So anyway, let's see. I think I heard someone just, let me see, I'm missing my comments window here. Hello, Candy. Good to see you. You were just about to log out. Well, you can always watch this on the replay if you need to jump or if you need to bail. How are you, Candy? All right, so let's just get into it here. Let's find some interesting. Just some basic configurations here. I'm losing a lot of my Halloween time here. I wanted to stamp out a few more Halloween things, and just something came up, and I had to go and take care of it. Okay, so let's try something with the cabin with fence here. Okay, I'm gonna do. I was going to do just one composition and just do it like, I don't know, 10 times, but I thought, I have a bunch of different stamps out. Let's just do whatever is around, just real simple compositions. Hello, Linda. Good to see you. Hello, Sandy. All right, so I'm just using my Stays-On pad here. That was a weak impression there that I laid down. I almost forgot how to stamp, okay? So I should have held that down a little bit longer to let that ink transfer there. So, but let's try a couple of these. No, I don't know, whatever different configurations, using maybe the same stamps, and we'll figure out a good one. This one right here looks a little bit, I don't know, kind of northern lighty. Maybe if this was a little bit higher. But let's go this way. I don't know, that looks kind of weird. Let's go this way then. And that'll be like sky up there. Okay, let me hold this down a little bit longer. I just did re-ink my Stays-On pad. Okay, now so I'm going to do that thing where I'm stamping out the imagery and then I'm doing a little bit of highlighting just with a simple, gel pen. I mean, not gel pen, paint pen. See, I kind of forgot everything. Over the course of 2 weeks. Where were you going again, Candy? Where were you going camping? Or what type of area are you going camping? All right, so I'm leaving a little bit of space open. I always like to do that with this cabin with fence. I always used to do that, and then I'd stamp this up a little bit higher or something like that. Just, it's kind of an entryway. I almost see this as like a, I don't know, it's almost like a foreground type of thing, where I usually do things. I usually do things with fences or something like that, or plant life, reeds or something like that, where you kind of enter in there like that. But I've always done it with this one. And I started doing that one time when I was doing something with the lady and horse. I had them kind of riding through there, and I've always kind of used a little bit of this area right there to the side like that. All right. let's see. Let me do 3 of these ones. I'll do this one a little bit. We'll go high and then we'll leave a lot more area down below. Or maybe I'll do it like this right here. I have that line running across right there, so I don't want it running through like the rooftop, that open area. So let's go like that instead, where this is a little bit more minimal here, less contrasty. Let's see. Speaking of camping, this used to be my favorite time of year to go out camping. I love the fall. I love the weather in the fall. It's definitely my favorite time to be in the outdoors. I used to like going to like the Eastern Sierras because no one's there, you know, because it's not summer and it's not the ski season, so really empty. Everything. Empty town, open lodging, you know, empty trails, and perfect weather. It's kind of interesting. Everything's getting like darker and darker. That was like the lightest, a little bit darker, and this one's darkest. Oh, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm doing any, like the impression's any different from that one to this one. I must have, or I don't know, maybe I'm building up more ink on this or something like that with the stays on. Hello, Bill. Good to see you. Dreary, Wisconsin. Send some of that cooler weather out this way. Yesterday, I was up in the Los Angeles area, and up there it must have been 90 or so. And I'm painting. I have a house up that way, and yeah, doing all this painting in there, and that house doesn't have air conditioning. And it was hot. Hot and sweaty work, that's for sure. Okay, so the sedge filler is filling in here. Okay, I'm not bothering, kind of wiping off here. So I'm being careful not to give too, you know, super definitive like an impression like this, where it's like harder around the edges like that. I mean, I could still see it in there, but, you know, I'm going to be adding in a little bit of tone to this one anyway. Minimally, though. We'll keep these really simple. Okay. So I'm going to be skipping around on these ones because I figured, you know, a lot of the different compositions will be using the same foreground maybe, so I'll just kind of, maybe I'll work the foundational imagery first, and I'll start to work in things like background imagery, sky, or, you know, whatever. No, the Slow Crafter, it's wood-grained paper, okay? I'll put a link to it. If you look back at some of the more recent videos, and there's a ton of them where I've been using this paper here, it's placemat paper, so, you know, like for a picnic or something like that. So disposable placemat paper, just in wood grain form. They have different types of patterns. The other ones kind of interesting are things like burlap, you know. But I thought the burlap had a little bit too much contrast. You'd have to use, I thought that'd be interesting to stamp on, but I wouldn't be able to stamp something like this on it, I don't think, and have it read too easily, because the contrast within the patterning, it's a little bit too extreme, so it'd really be, but, you know, if I was doing something real solid, like, you know, like this, over that type of patterning, it'd be pretty cool. But isn't that cool, though? You know, I mean, it's they're 11 by 17 sheets, and they're super inexpensive because they're all kind of disposable, cheap. I don't know. This feels like thinner than like even your copy paper, okay? Yeah, I think this has to be. I think this is a little bit thinner. Yeah, you do things with copies, copies that you're making, but this it just has to be down there, and when someone's done with it, they toss it out. So I don't know. It's really super. I don't know if you can see my. Yeah, you can see my fingers through it. See that? Like even through the the printing like that, you can see how thin this paper is. But hey, I mean, it's great to stamp on. For me. Okay, let's see here. I don't know if I've done a have I done a Lakeside Cove on the wood grain paper yet? I don't remember. I've been using this so much. Hello, Patty. We live on the lake. It takes about an hour to get to the dam and camp on the river. So you live on the lake, an hour to get to the dam and camp on. Okay, so that's the river that's feeding the lake that you live on, Candy? Okay, let's see. Let's see about a nice deep print with this, if I can get that. Okay, so let's see. Oh, I think was that piece that I just used? That thing looks really familiar there. Was that the one that was down right there? I don't remember. Yeah, okay, yeah, look at that. You'd see that eye, like that eye up there in that wood. It looks like a bird to me. So you can look into the wood just like you're laying outside looking up at the clouds and say, oh, look at, you can see this in there. Okay, let's try to get a nice deep impression. I just re-inked this. Maybe my StazOn pad was like super dry, or it's already dried up here. It's one thing I don't like about this, the StazOn, is just that evaporation rate. It's just so fast, but I guess it's supposed to be, right? Because it's supposed to dry on whatever and dry quickly. Problem is it dries on our pads too fast. Let's go this way with this one. Okay, let's see if this holds true, that, I don't know, that brief initial theory about kind of getting a little bit of StazOn kind of building up on the bottom of the stamp, giving us darker impressions. The more we utilize it, at some point in time it might start resisting the ink if it kind of builds up on the stamp too much sometime. I don't know, maybe that's if we switch to another ink, like you try to use a dye-based ink over the dried StazOn ink, build up on the stamp or something like that. I'm not sure. It came out pretty good. That was pretty dark. Maybe it's because I just re-inked though too. Okay, so if you just logged on, I'm kind of doing like, a bunch of these because I've been sending out, when I've had them, just some examples of this wood grain paper with some orders just to give people another idea. And I send out a few, sheets of this too that someone can test out, if they feel inclined. It's like the cheapest, I don't know, whatever boutique paper that we can ever come across, right? Disposable, placemats. I don't know, it's like 50, 11 by 17. I think it was 50 of them for like $10 or something like that. So, that's like 100, 8.5 by 11s. They have better, thicker, like cardstock wood grain paper, but I don't know. I would guess that it's probably, I don't know. I have no idea. 4 times as much probably at minimum. Hey, Linda, do you have any of that kind of more planky style of wood grain cardstock that you were using, or are you did you run out of it? Oops. No, that's the right side. Okay. I thought it was inking up the wrong side of this. Okay, so if you're just logging on, I'm overlapping a good amount, like a 1/4 inch, you know, so, and ink up more than you think you're gonna need because you don't want to just like, okay, I just need this 1 inch of it, so I'm gonna ink up 1 inch, and then you overlap too much, and then you got this blank area here that's, you know, on the paper, so ink up a little bit more than you need, and that's why you don't need I mean, you could use a stamp positioner if you want to, but you just want adequate overlap there, you know, so overlap freely and don't try to utilize it like a jigsaw puzzle, okay, and that way everything will look nice and seamless for you. All right, let's add in some backgrounds to these ones here. Roasted marshmallows. Awesome. That reminds me, so I don't, you know, when I used to go camping, I wasn't like roasting marshmallows. When I was doing like heavy hiking and camping, a little bit of backpacking. But when I started, you know, volunteering with the Cub Scouts, you know, we always had s'mores, you know, and things like that. That's when I started roasting marshmallows again, and it was really fun, you know. It's like, oh yeah, you know, those are pretty good. Okay, so mountain like this, it does have a line down here. It's not a direct line. I'm just saying, let's say you know, whatever, kind of a dissolving base here. But I am taking off some additional ink like this so that when I go like this, it'll transition even more because it's going from wet to dry down here now. But you can see it's already kind of, it's designed to kind of taper off like that with my dot patterning. But if you just kind of wipe it off like that, it transitions really gracefully, even more so like that. So yeah, keep that in mind. You know, it makes things really easy, and it's an easy technique to employ as far as transitioning values. You know, it's like we have one ink right here, but then you can go like this, and you can have multiple values of gray down here because it's getting drier, and then driest down here, so it gets lighter and lighter, so you get multiple values all in one one color or whatever. All right, let's just leave it like that. Let's leave it kind of, my inclination is kind of to add more mountains out here, but I think that looks kind of cool, like it's one, you know, kind of majestic one. I would add a reflection down here if this is a bigger piece, but I kind of want this open area right here so I can stamp a little focal point subject matter. Hello, Kay. Good morning in Perth. Good to have you. Western Australia is in the house. All right, let's see. All right, we already have a mountain up here. Let's not do the mountain on this one. Yeah, let's do one of this one. This one's like a vertical. This one's a horizontal. Let's go ahead and throw it up here like, you know, like that. Maybe I'll do 2 of them on this one. Or, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. I was saying or because I was thinking I might want to stamp some like word stamps on all of these too, but I won't really have too much room for it up there. Let's go over this way. The mountain does not have to fit within the area. You can have the mountain kind of running off the top of the page too, like this, you know, might make it even look more kind of majestic. You know, it goes like completely off the page. You know, it's not going to be Mount Everest. Could be the Rockies or something like that. One of the 14,000 feet ones, maybe. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit higher like this. Like so. Yeah, let's add one over here too. Do you think I have enough ink on there? Maybe not with the the stays on. It might be dry. All right. See that right there? It's just that little piece right there. So I'm looking at this in terms of the highlights, the rocks, the rocky peaks up there, and like the rooftop with the paint pens will be really fun, I think. After years of stamping, I still don't like stays on, but I'm using my stamp platform more so I can restamp. Got it. Well, for me on this one, hey Candy, have you used that? So how, you know, that like printed papers? Then are you using like a dye based or something like that with a wood grain paper or something? I just couldn't get a really dark enough impression with the especially with the water-based media on this type of paper or the vintage one. It just came out too light for me, so I just found the stays on just I don't know, it removed a lot of the variables for me. Okay, now see this right here? This looks like a little bit of like it could be in the sky, like a cool cloud pattern like that, but this would have to be stamped so low, so I'd be covering it all up like that. So I'm going to leave this and go like this for like a little, you know, pattern in the water. I think that would be cool. So you can utilize the patterns of the paper for your whatever compositional needs. This would be really cool with the Lakeside Cove in here too. Like you know, like that would be like right in that area like that, wouldn't it? But I already have two of the Lakeside Cove, so let's just go with this one. I mean, I have, you know, I don't know how many more sheets of this. I have a lot. I've been giving away a ton of this paper, though, but I still have, you know, quite a few sheets left. And 11 by 17, right? What is there? Yeah, there's 8 quarter-size page, you know, cards in an 11 by 17, though. So if you have, like, whatever, 12 left, that's 48 scenes, you know, if you're working quarter page, right? So all right. So just as I was talking about that patterning right there, I just kind of stamped right over it. Oh well, you know, there's the memory of it there. Okay, let's see. Let's go with this. Let's get a couple foregrounds down here like this. Okay, let's see. The planky paper. Yeah, okay, you got the planky paper. That was in your stash, though, right, Linda? I may buy a book of it as I am. Oh, okay. So you can still get it. I didn't know if you, you know, that was like an old paper of yours. You know, that might not even be around anymore. So Linda found some, I don't know, you can tell him, Linda, you know. But she found this, like, it looks like wood planks, you know what I mean? Go check it out on the Facebook Stampscapes group, or check out, did you post those ones to your Flickr account, Linda? I don't remember. But Linda's account, her Flickr account is under, you know, her name. You know, if you go to Flickr and want to see it. Let's see here. Let's go with this one right here. This is the Boulders with Lichen. Put this at a little bit of an angle, kind of just going off the page a little bit, so you don't even have to stamp it like, you know, clear across there, because we can put like a little tree or something right here, or you can just have it like that. This could even be in the background too, and you can put some additional trees up here, you know, background, foreground, whatever. Let's see. I think I want a little bit in this little meadow here too, as in the foreground, just to break up the monotony of all that grass. I just remembered I was thinking about a a fence for the foreground on that one. Eh, let's just go with this rock, being that I have it out here. Oh, but that planky style wood, Linda used it in a really cool way. So it looks like this wood grain thing, but they look like planks of wood. But then she, put like word stamps like on those lines, so it looked, you know, I don't know, it integrated the, the patterning of that, in an interesting way with words, because it's like a line running across there. It was like perfect for, to stamp a word stamp right over the top of it. Okay, a couple rocks like that. So here's what we have right now, as far as some different compositions. We're gonna finish these off, but kind of in a real minimal way with just some paint pen highlighting, and we'll put in some word stamps too. Okay. But the more kind of things you put down on here, I mean, you look at a piece of paper like this, and we're really aware that it looks real kind of, wood grained and stuff like that. I mean, we're still aware of it like this, but for me, I kind of start forgetting about it, and I just see it as like a general tone in the background, like an aged type of tone. But then if you kind of change your focus on it, it's like, oh, there's all the wood grains again. So it's like you change your, I don't know, whatever, your attention, I guess it is, more than just, your eyes or something like that. I don't know, it's a fun thing because you can kind of oscillate around a little bit, with whatever you're looking for in the piece, okay? So I don't know, in a video like this where we're watching it happen, I don't know what, if we give a card like this to someone, are they looking at the cabin or something like that and whatever first? And it's like, oh, this is like, what is that? Oh, it's like wood grained, And I don't know where that comes into play as far as someone's attention goes. So, yeah, let's see. Just bust out that trailer again, Linda. And yeah, Candy, let her know where you are. You'll have a stamp retreat next to the river. Hello, Christine. Good to see you. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Who needs word stamps? That's true. Oh, hello in Louisiana. Good to see you, Lisa. The Bayou set. Oh, I don't know if I've used a Bayou imagery with the wood grain paper yet. I should. That'd be fun. Because see, this looks like a lot like, like, you know what I mean? This, to me, water and sky often can be interchangeable. Sometimes you look at a sunset sky or something like that, and it looks like a landscape or something like that, or water, or you look at the patterns of water, this could be either for sky or water. So, bayou shack or house up here, something like that. Cypress trees, whatever. That would be cool. What's the weather like in Louisiana right now? Let's see, which way should we go with this? Let's try some trees on this paper. I love the trees on trees too, it just kind of makes sense from a thematic standpoint, to have kind of a, a tree-based compositions on wood grain paper. Let's do it two ways. Let's go, let me see. Should we do this too? Okay, let's try this too. I'd really like to stamp a larger image on this type of paper, but like with the art foamies, but I don't want to use StazOn on an art foamy stamp. Okay. The Brilliance Black. Oh, okay, right. Yeah, I like the Brilliance Black on this paper too. I don't know if I'm using StazOn because the Brilliance Black, sometimes a lot of people just don't have it, okay? But I find that a lot of people have StazOn that don't use it either, but they at least have the pad. So I figured, okay, this is going to be much more accessible to people, that may not want to get a Brilliance Black, although they really should. Because Brilliance Black is not just another, pigment-based black. They say, hey, I've got a color box, I've got a Hero Arts, I've got a Stampin' Up black pigment ink, okay? They did embossing with it or whatever, and, I totally understand it too. Hey, I don't want to buy a fourth pigment ink pad, but it's completely different though because it's water-based and fast drying, it's not an oil-based pigment ink, so it just really opens up a lot of doors for stamping on whatever foils, these pre-printed papers, vellum, I don't know what else, the printable vinyl sticker paper, everything. Okay. Wood on wood, right? It was an old 6x6 book that was hanging around, and I noticed they had 12x12 books of them. Ah, okay. Tuesday morning stores. I don't think I've ever been in a Tuesday morning. There was one not too far from where I used to live, but I just never went in there. But it was always kind of on my way to drive around doing something. I forget where I was driving to. Sedge filler. So going back to the, what I call it, the 4 or 5 Fs or something like that. So foundation stamps, okay, this scene's going to be about trees, so my foundation are trees. And then filler, F for filler, then we'll add foreground and, some kind of focal point or two. Was there another, something else I'm missing? I don't remember. It was something like that, though. Okay, so there's some trees there. I guess I'm not mass producing really anything, but I'm just kind of coming up with similar compositions here. Okay, let's see. Let's use this other tree in the background. I got a lot of space in here, so let's go. Sorry about cleaning here. Looks like I think I use this white one. I probably use the white Brilliance on this one for the I don't know, like maybe the dark blue foil or something like that. It's hot. It's hot here too, Lisa. I was just curious about that. I've never been to Louisiana. I'm trying to think if there's a couple states that I didn't travel to. But back when I was used to be traveling a lot, I got around, to a decent number of places. But it's one of those places I always kind of wanted to go to, but just, I don't know, it just never happened. I didn't get around to it. I used to like travel too. I kind of started getting really tired towards the end of the year, you know, when I was traveling all year to conventions and workshops. And then I think, oh my God, I need to get like a little bit of a break, you know. But then I found when I stopped traveling, it's like I started having withdrawals. I don't know, you kind of get used to the kind of the intense, you know, kind of busy, I don't know, whatever scheduling. All right, let me test here. Okay, I think I can get two impressions out of this. I wasn't quite sure. Let's see if I can get a lighter impression. So I'm just kind of stamping out the top of this right here, and I'll try to get that. Yeah, I got it. I didn't get that in there really well. Okay, and I was just about to put another one in there, but I think that's the perfect position for like a deer or something like that. Here, let's throw one of these in the foreground and see if that works out. Okay. So look at a little bit cluttered here. Maybe this is a forest that's been overmanaged and they've put out every fire, you know, like super fire suppression. So it's got all that fuel. I mean, it's not funny at all, especially for up in like Canada, right, Linda? With all those fires. Are those all out now? Okay, let's see what we're looking at here. I feel like I'm dealing cards here. This has to be the most. This has to be the most scenes I've stamped out in a scenes I've stamped out in a video yet, right? Okay, here. I'm just looking at these. Let's go with let's go real solid here with this one. The spruce. Okay, so foreground. So foundation stamps, you know, the cabin, mountain right here. Filler, sedge filler, foreground with these larger trees like this. I won't use these in all of the... Well, that stamped out really dark. Okay, kind of frame it off. Puts a little cabin in the I don't know, clearing type of thing. Yeah. It's not 120 anymore, but it was close to 90. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I was telling them earlier, Lisa, yesterday up in the Los Angeles area, it was probably, I don't know, it was probably over 90s. But in the house where I was at, I think it was like 89 or something like that. And then back here in San Diego, it was really warm yesterday too. Apparently, it's like late October and it's still, you know, like 90s here. I thought it was cooling off. I thought we were going to start, you know, the typical cooling trend. But man, it heated up again. All right, let's see this down here again. I don't even see that like that rock anymore, but yeah, that's what happens. You just kind of compose as you go, right? All right, let's see. I miss just stores in general, you know. If I think about it too much, it's like, it kind of gets sad. Stamp stores, you know, of course, but just you know, I used to like bookstores a lot, music stores, everything, you know. I didn't go to like the malls too often, but you know, every now and then. It's kind of hard to believe that, you know, a lot of that type of thing is just gone. Okay, a little bit of foreground right here. Okay, just with reeds. I don't think I need anything in that. Okay. Okay, so the sedge filler went in here, and I was telling people earlier that I was being careful not to, you know, stamp it too heavy where that patterning would be in there, but even if it did go in pretty heavy, I'm talking about the sedge filler. I don't want to, you know, there'd be a big definitive line around each one so that when you're overlapping the previous impression, it, you know, if you press down or if you're using like a Brilliance, you know, we're talking about Brilliance Black where it's a real thick ink, you know, you might want to kind of blot it off around the edge before you stamp it out. But, okay, if it does get a little bit blobby, you know, your foreground images kind of just smooth things out a little bit because it's covering up, you know, a lot of those heavier edges that might appear from stamping out something like, you know, this type of textural stamp. Textures in kind of the ground or in the sky, like clouds or something like that, those are the areas where we really don't want to, you know, be real conscious of the impressions, you know, where one impression ends and the other one begins, where we're overlapping things, you know, repetitively. Yeah, we want it nice and smooth, you know what I mean? So, you know, I always tell people, you know, I mean, you know, be mindful when you're stamping it out, but even if it doesn't come out that way, we're going to be adding in all kinds of other things over the top of it anyways, you know, that will kind of minimize, you know, some kind of undesirable existing element of a piece, okay? I mean, we haven't even started coloring yet, so and there's that, you know, that can do it, you know, as well. It can remedy, in other words. All right, there we go, like that. I don't want to do the whole. I don't want to break out a million different stamps and go looking for something, but I have these more kind of autumny things, you know, like little bushy things. Let me see if I just have one, happen to have it right around me somewhere, like the maple trio or something. Oh, here's this one. The maple pear would have been a little bit better, but these are maple trees like this, but I'm just using it like this for the little bushy things to kind of reiterate what's going on back here. Let's see. I get the dewdrop size of Brilliance inks. Oh, got it. I like the dewdrop idea for some things. I like the bigger ones for like my main colors though, like black and white. But the dewdrops, you're re-inking that quite often then, right? Oh, that's interesting, Candy. Huh. That's just for the that's for any of your types of inks, like dye-based inks too? Okay, a little bit of that textural pattern right there. Here, I'll build it up a little bit more. Like that. That stamped out kind of light for some reason. Okay, let's layer it though. Where did that? Here we go. Let me see something here. With with my autumn things, I often use this tree, leafless limbs here. Because it looks kind of like a dead deciduous tree to me. Okay. Over here. And so see, foreground, you know, it could be kind of its own kind of a, you know, fairly rich, you know, richly built area of your pieces. Okay. You know, a lot of times it's pretty minimal for mine because I have a lot going on in the background of things. So I tend to leave the foregrounds pretty simple. But, you know, this is just one stamp and I can't really do anything else in this area at least. So, you know, you can build up, you know, pretty layered dimensional area right here in your foreground too. And because I don't do very much to it, I think it stands out pretty good. You know, if I'm doing a white piece of paper, a lot of times I'll add in tones and things like that. But, you know, so much of the coloring is already done in here. There's light and shadow because it's already existing in here. There's light and dark. So you already get kind of preset in here in addition to, you know, color, you know. So, you know, there's already a little bit of visual interest going on in that area. So, you know, you can, you know, choose to add more if you want to, or not. Overmanaged for sure, yeah. I've seen pictures, you know, historical pictures of like Yosemite, for example, or something like that from, I don't know, whatever it was, you know, 1900 or something like that. And there's all this space in between, you know, the giant sequoias or something like, you know, and a certain grove there or something. And, you know, and then they'll show like a more recent one and it's like every, you know, square inch of that foot has been absolutely filled in with a brush so that, you know, when there's a fire now, you know, of course it's, you know, it just wreaks havoc because there's no space in between the trees. That's the same thing that's happening. Well, Joshua Tree, it's not overmanaged, but I don't know, they planted some grasses in there, you know, some, I don't know, whatever ranchers back when, you know, that they brought over from some seed from Texas or something like that. And so now between the Joshua trees, there's all this kind of invasive grasses. So, you know, it's always a problem when there's a fire out there now. All right, let's go on to our focal points here. A little kayaker here. Anytime you put a little figure into a scene, oftentimes from an emotional standpoint, it's kind of transportive. We become that figure in the, you know, location, you know, unless it's Linda stamping out a Halloween scene, she stamps out a skeleton, you know what I mean? That she didn't transport into that skeleton. Or, you know, there's an eyeball in a coffin, you know what I mean? I don't know, unless you did transport into it. All right, so let's see. It's 100 here south. Oh my gosh, that's hot. I mean, that doesn't surprise me at all, being 90 out here. Laura, did you guys see that moon last night? Was it last? It was last night, right? Did anyone see the eclipse from where, you know, you guys are? I didn't even know about it, so I thought when I was driving back, I was thinking that's kind of a really weird looking crescent moon. And then I was on Flickr, so a couple people that I'm whatever connected to had posted up there, but they wrote solar eclipse. Yeah. Okay, a little bit of texture in here. Okay. This is the tiny rocks. As far as like the stamp that I've made the most impressions of, I don't know if it's this tiny rock stamp. It's probably like the reed's large or something like that. But I don't know. This one's getting up there because I might, you can use this 100 times if you're doing like an 8.5 by 11, and I'm going like this, with it, to get it real textured in there. But see, this is like all grass right here. So if you put like a few of these in here, it just, to me, that makes it a little bit more interesting like that. And it's real subtle, but okay. Do this one around the shore like that. It's kind of a nice, it's a textural stamp, but it's kind of a nice transitional stamp in here too. It's like, here's the water's edge, and then you get out here a little bit more. And if you can see those rocks like that, it just means it's a more shallow area of the water. So otherwise this water is the same, right, from this whole area right here. But if you put it right next to the shoreline, it represents, what a varying depth, right? So if you send me a card or something like that, or I don't know, you submit that, for me to take a look at, you don't need those rocks like that. But if they're in there, you get like 5 bonus points, for your grade. This friend of mine that graduated with me from Long Beach State and in the illustration department, he's always wanted to teach kind of on the university level. He's been a high school art teacher for whatever 25, 30 years, and it's always been on his bucket list. He wants to teach on the university level, so he got a job teaching first semester traditional illustration as opposed to digital illustration. He's got like, I don't know, with like 30 kids in there, and like only like, these are like juniors and seniors too in the art program. It's like he's got like 8 to 10 of them that are actually kind of doing the work in there. Everyone, is like, doesn't show up, and or if they show up, they're not doing the work. They're just sitting around, or they have really, really bad motor skills. Because they've probably been doing things on the computer and not doing like I don't know how. And you got to do it in like a beginning art class though, beginning drawing class, beginning life drawing. So I don't know. It's been like a shocking, whatever. It's like a culture shock for him, because his high school students, do really fantastic work, But he says some of his freshmen in high school are better than these 20 some odd year olds in like a 300 level university class. They're better than them, and they do their work actually. Okay, let's see here. You're not the only one running AC. The dewdrops pads are great for inking parts of the stems. Oh, yeah. I can see that. That's cool. Late, went to a baby shower. Oh, that's cool. Who was the baby shower for? That sounds like fun. All right, so let's add in. Okay, so we went with foundation stamps. You know, this is a tree, you know, scene. We have the filler stamps, sedge filler. You got the foreground. Now you're going focal point, okay? Focal points are just anything that, you know, the viewer's eye is going to land on. So, I mean, this cabin right here is a foundation stamp, but it can also be the focal point. If I don't put anything else in there, that'll be the thing that kind of the viewer's attention is probably going to go to. People's eyes go to things like people, critters, but they also go to word stamps a lot, you know, because, you know, if there's a word stamp on there, you know, when someone lifts this up to look at it, I don't know what's going to pull more attention, this or, you know, a word stamp up here, you know, because we're going to be drawn to read something. Okay, let's see. Let's do this one again. Stamping this one a little bit lower here. That. Okay. Just joking. Okay, so yeah, that was like the focal point there. Of these ones right here. Not enough room on this. No, I don't know. I guess this could be. So in terms of perspective, you know, if you put something like this elk, you know, back here, you're saying that, you know, this elk is going to be like, you know, basically like 20 feet high because it's higher than the cabin right here, the base of the cabin. So if I wanted to, I could put this right here, like it's looking back in there. I don't think I want to, but just, you know, for example, if you're ever curious about, sometimes people just, you know, when they first start landscape stamping, they don't kind of get where perspective goes. Now, you know, we're getting close to Halloween here, so Linda and I have talked about it before. You know, it's like I'm not going to worry about perspective at all. You know, if there's a skeleton up here of a certain size, you know, I don't care if I'm putting another impression of it or another one of the same size here. You know what I mean? It's a fun kind of composition where we're just throwing out perspective. But, you know, if you're doing perspective and, you know, something is just really traditional like this, you know what I mean? You probably don't want to have something like this up here, unless it's the great, you know what I mean? Whatever, ghost elk or, you know what I mean? Or something like that that's supposed to represent. So, okay, so what I'm getting at is here, and you can do it like this. You can just kind of move it around like this, okay? And then see if, you know, something looks right. This probably doesn't look right here, right? You know, because it's like the same, it's on the same, whatever, plane as the cabin right here, but you can go like this. I'm just showing it upside down because, you know, if you find a location for it like that, you know, it'll be fine like this too. Let's try it on this one. We have this little rock right here that we put down. Let's put it on the rock and have it looking, you know, down from the rock or something like that. And when you're doing like people, you know, like little animals, unless you got a bunch of them and you're really, you know, stringent on perspective or something like that, you know what I mean? It's not like it's going to look wrong right here, but it's right here. You know, it's like 1/8 of an inch. It's not that type of, you know, super tight tolerance level or something like that. Perspective, you know. All right. It's up a little bit light. I should have held that down a little bit longer. Oh well. All right, let's see here. "36 colors of memento with re-inkers for all." Got it. When I saw that memento in my mind, I was thinking brilliance for some reason. I was thinking, wow, you got that? All right, let's see here. Okay, so I'm leaving some space up here. I want some word stamps in these ones too. John took photos of it. I did a GIF. Okay. Laura's talking about that lunar eclipse. It was really cool looking. I came around the corner, and I was driving at night, so I didn't see it the whole trip until I, you know, got really close to my house, and it was like, you know, the crescent was like I don't know, it was like coming from like 3/4 underneath or something like that. All right, let's see. I don't have too much space. I'm looking for my word stamps here. Okay, let's see. Spirit of the Wild. I associate that more with like wolves or something like that. I don't, you know, this elk right here. I don't know. I don't like that one. Oh, let me see something right here. Yeah. Follow your dream. Okay, let's see. Okay, I need to do a couple test impressions of this. I always, you know, if I don't stamp like word stamps for a while, this happens when I'm taking photos too. I'm always kind of like tilting a little bit more. So these days they have that level. But it's the same thing with stamping. I'm always kind of like, I don't know, I favor one side over another, you know. It's like hanging a little bit. Okay, let me see here. Yeah, yeah, close enough, huh? Like that. So I just don't want it to be like, you know, off by like 8 degrees or something like that. As long as I'm within like, you know, I don't know, maybe even 7 degrees. That's, you know, that's too much. But yeah, what about this one? This one right here. Follow your dreams. It's like an elk's dream to find food for that day. Okay, we'll just do that one right there. Follow your dreams. Oh, let's see. I don't know if I can find this. Let me see. Will this fit here? This one's My Spirit is in the Mountains. Let's try it. This one's really long and narrow. Okay, I'm just eyeballing this right here. This is when, you know, I don't miss, you know, not having or utilizing certain devices, but you know, maybe stamping platforms not that bad. You know, for the word stamps. It usually, you know, most of them come out okay though. Okay. But sometimes, you know, I stamp them out, like I said, and they're a little bit off. That one's okay. I think I put a little bit more pressure around that mountain area, though. So it went from, like, traditional to a little bit bold font like that. I meant to do that, though. I'm just joking there. I didn't mean to do that. But who cares? Okay, here, beautiful earth. Here's peace. There was a couple of these that didn't have too much room. Yeah, that one doesn't have room. Yeah, that one doesn't have room for that either. I could put it right here. This is kind of a bolder font. But that would look kind of weird though, huh? Let's see, let's go with this one right here. I use this one a lot with like foils, especially like blue foil for some reason. It seems like just peace for that blue foil type of thing. The solar eclipse, not the moon. Elk could be standing in the water. Could be. Do they stand in the water? I know moose do. Stamping on acetate for placement helps with perspective. Yes. I always refer people to Pam Klein and Jolene Meyer on let's go with this right here on the in the Stampscapes gallery. They did some of the most fantastic compositions. Way back when, a lot of it was like large scale too, and it's they told me Pam always taught, she was a store owner, she taught Stampscape stamps with acetate things, so they would compose with the acetate, so she'd have a permanent thing, permanent acetate for all the the different Stampscapes designs. And then that's how she composed her pieces, and then she stamped it out, But really super complex compositions a lot of times. I don't know, sometimes I wondered if they had multiple acetates for the same stamp because she'd be using it in repetition, specifically the Seaside Cove stamp, the really large stamp, because sometimes they'd be using it like a river where it was stacked. All right, like that. So that kind of framed that off a little bit. Let's see. Oh, let's go with this one too here. See these hard edges like this sometimes? I mean, I think this looks okay, but sometimes I like to get rid of, these 90-degree angles in my, in scenes just to soften the edges a little bit. We have 90-degree angles on our papers too, so sometimes that's why I add like a strong vignette around the pieces. Not so much, I don't add that on with the wood grain paper, but if I'm doing white pieces of, paper, you'll often see me do like all four corners will be darker, just to kind of eradicate, these hard angles like this. I should really be stamping on like ovals all the time or circles, but I'm just joking in a way, but you can do that these days with like a cricket or something like that. Have those things cut out, ovals, and then if you want to kind of mat them on another oval, then just, designate that another oval, a little bit larger, and I think they look pretty good. And then you can put it on a, a rectangle card or whatever. But the scene itself is really nicely kind of framed off and rounded. See this like hard edge right here. Let's put a couple little leaves right here too. All right. Okay, Okay, I was going to put one right here because this is kind of a leafy thing. This is deciduous anyways, but no, let's not do that. I don't want to cover up like all of my wood patterning in here. So let's see where we're at right here. I definitely need something up here for this one. What do you think about this one? That looks okay, being that it's just that little spot. I guess I don't need to have an overhang in there. I still have that opening on these little areas right here for a little figure. Halloween has no rules, just fun. That should really be for like all stamping, huh? Like there shouldn't be any rules in any of it, but I do seem to have some for certain things. But I need to break out of it because every time I do, it's like a revelation, you know, and it's like totally freeing. And I think the pieces look fine, you know, or maybe even better, you know, with that. I don't know. Maybe the holiday, just kind of a funkier holiday, kind of a, I don't know, whatever encourages, you know, kind of a, you know, I don't know, whatever, a breaking the rules type of, you know, I don't know, whatever spirit. Okay, let's see. These guys are a little bit too big here. Let me see here. I need like a little, I already have this here. I have something coming through here. Maybe I won't. I was thinking of that lady on horse, but okay, I was thinking, these two are about the same size, so I don't want to have like one up here either, you know, like that. I could do that. No, that's not good. I'm gonna just leave this one as is. There's not, I don't want to, things are a little bit cramped in here already. I don't want to cramp it more with additional stuff in here. Because again, we have that wood grain that we're trying to feature here. Let's see. Walk with Mum's sight. Yeah. So Nicole, we're not supposed to be like biting into that like what were those like those popcorn. We're not supposed to be accepting like handmade popcorn balls anymore, like a candy, you know, caramel apple anymore. When I was little, okay, you know, and going trick or treating, I mean, that was, you know, no one was, you know, passing out those at that time. But there was this one, you know, kind of elderly lady in our neighborhood, and she made like those popcorn balls, you know, stuff that you know, grew up as a kid, you know, as a little girl. So I don't know. I always found, you know, when we went up there, you know, we accepted it, you know, with grace and everything like that. But we were thinking, I don't know, you know, you know, we're not eating that stuff. But I remember this friend of mine did bite into it, and I thought, huh, that's kind of, you're really gonna eat that, you know? I mean, we weren't worried about it back then, you know, with her, but I don't know, it seemed kind of strange. Dreams are like, I'm having to read this stuff backwards. Here's one of the things. So I have all these scenic sentiment stamps, and I do want the, you know, to be kind of matching, you know, somewhat thematically here. But I also want it to match kind of with a configuration like this. So I tend to go with kind of elongated quote stamps when I'm doing a landscape based one. So when I'm going, I don't have too many kind of, you know, vertical ones, but some of them are a little bit more vertical than others, like these ones right here, you know, like this one right here. I think that looks a little bit better. And I mean, it's still a rectangle like this, but you know what I mean? I think that tends to look better, you know, than this. Even though you know, you can use it, but I don't know. Unlike some, you know, for me, it's if the shape of the quote kind of, you know, matches the well, you know, whatever the shape of the thing, it's a little bit more of a bonus, I think. Compositionally, it kind of reiterates the composition a little bit more. All right, so I don't want to think about this too much longer, so let's just go with this one here. These are my clean tack and peel, you know, sheets right here, but you know, you can just use your cling foam stamps right over the, that top. This one has a beveled edge right here, so a lot of times I don't use my stamps on the beveled edge. I don't know, I feel like I can see more of what I'm doing. If I'm not, I don't know, I can get it straighter on the, I don't know, having the beveled side up. I don't know if it's psychological or, or what. We can add a moon. A moon looks really good on this with the white Brilliance pigment ink. Or just, I don't know, white pigment ink. I guess maybe any of them could work on here. Okay. Oh, that one came out a little bit crooked. Oh, what do I care? None of these are for me anyway. They're getting sent out with orders. Yeah, that one's really crooked. I didn't do 2 of those. I should have. Oh, here, let me try something here. Let me see if I can kind of hide that a little bit more, I can hide it more like doing this like right across there, but... Shouldn't I have gotten better over the course of, this video stream? The first ones were really, really nice and straight. I don't know. You know what I can do? Is I can cut this at a little bit of an angle, and then you can cut this down here a little bit. I guess that would make a parallelogram. Or I can go like that. I can take a little bit of that angle off like that and just, what I mean? It'll be more like a 4 by, I don't know, whatever. Instead of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, it'd be like 4 1/8 by 5 1/8. What? I can't even think of it right now. Okay, so there's that. I got this space right up here. Sorry about this kind of whole mass production thing right here. But I really want to get a bunch of these, to send out as examples, and I just keep running out of them, so... let's see. Thinking of you. So is it that creature that's thinking of us, or are we thinking of it? I don't know. Unless you have a friend that likes hunting elk or something like that. Thinking of you, Okay, beauty. Scenically inspired now. Let's do the... I'm gonna put this dream right here, and I think I'm gonna add a moon to this one. Okay, let me see here. Is anyone still stamping out Halloween things, or is it too late? You're probably already stamping out like Christmas, right? Or holiday, different holiday things. Or is it never too late for Halloween? Okay, here, I should practice this. Let me make sure that I have it. Okay, let me see. I don't think it'll be off by like 5 degrees, but yeah. See, I'm starting to go a little bit more. That wasn't too bad, but I stamped it into the leaves. But I'm going to put a moon like right around in here or something like that. Oh, I know what I'll do too. I'm going to do a couple moons on a couple of these. Okay, let me see. I had one of the, yeah, see, I have that little hole punch right there anyways. Okay. Hello, Jeannie. Yeah, Bill, stamp on that acetate. Only to go to houses with the orange balloons on the letterbox. Orange balloons on the letterbox? I haven't heard that one. Nicole, one of the rules is whatever candy you get, you got to eat it all that night too, right? Jeannie's on an elliptical machine. You should be stamping. Make us have have a like a stamping platform so where you're on the elliptical machine. You could be using your your hands. You know, what I mean, you're working out your hands with the stamps as well. Okay, now these moons are going to look really weird. Okay, because it's going to be entering, adding this white element in there. But remember, we're going to be adding in these little, highlights with the pens too. So we'll be adding some element of that light as well. So Laura, we need to do like I don't know, like another circle right here. The punch that I used for this, we should lay it down like this and do that more like a eclipse type of moon, huh? I don't know. What do people? I don't know. People, I don't remember people stamping out like eclipses, but we should. I don't know why we don't. All right, so let's see. I haven't been stamping for 2 weeks, so I don't know if my pads are dry or whatever. And if you're doing a moon and there's an object in front of it, and really, as far as method, goes, sequencing, we should probably stamp out, we should probably do the moon first so we can stamp the object right over the top of it. But, we're just working this way here, so, because we didn't really plan on that. So, I'll get that. My pad's like super moist here. I must have re-inked it the last time I used it. Okay, so see that right there? I'm kind of wiping off a little bit off of that tree top right there, but oh well. All right, there's our moon in there. Excuse me a second here. All right, so this moon is going to be coming up from the horizon here, like about like so. And that will provide a distraction to the viewer for that really lopsided quote stamp, except for those of you in the know. Now that's should be reflected down. Let's go. I was going to say should be reflected down here, but I was thinking, I don't know if I'm going to do that. So let's go down here. But okay, so I'm not going to add it in full force, okay, because it's going to be too distracting. So I'm just going to add like a little gist of it, okay? Like something like that, right? All right. That one looks pretty good, isn't it? Let's see. I can put a little bit one right here, or like coming up from behind the mountain would be pretty cool. But let's not do that. Piece. Huh. I, I don't know. I think that one, I think it, peace, I know it sounds like, I think it'd be even more peaceful if it was a nighttime scene, so let's do that. Let's go really like that. Sometimes there's a, it can be really dramatic with just a tiny little bit of a moon too, you know, as opposed to the full thing. Okay. Like that. And I think that looks good. All right, so if you just logged on, I'm stamping out a bunch of these, you know, different little examples of the wood grain paper. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, this one I didn't, there's a room in there. There's too much room in here. All right, I am gonna go ahead and just go ahead and go for this here. Let's do. I can have it like rising up behind it, but then there's like too much space up there, so let's do this. It's just like the illuminating light up here, and then I'll put some lighting down here. Let's have it coming through some of those leaves right in there. I think there's one really juicy part of my pad, and the rest of it is like really dry. Because this is what I thought it was going to be, but I don't know. I must have inked it up in the one spot or something like that first time. It was like super sopping wet, but now it's like really dry. Okay, so there we go, like that. All right. You can say these moons are we're kind of adding in a, you know, like a really strong focal point to the scenes. You know, moons are a big focal point. You know, when it comes to our, you know, grabbing our attention, right? All right, so let's see here. So with these different paint pens, you know, there's different values of pens that you can choose from, and a lot of them come with, you know, different, you know, light, medium, darks of, you know, this one's a warm range right here. White would really stand out. So sometimes for a kind of more mellow kind of reflection, I'm going with these ones these days. All right, so let's see here. Oh, if it is a little off the card, you can trim the card to the same angle. Yeah. A tiny bear. Oh, and that other scene. It happens to the best of it. It happens to me all the time, Bill. Hello, Debbie. Stamp another one on a wood piece and 3D mount over. I could. Yeah, I could, you know, that quote stamp there, but no. That's, I need these, like, cards to be really, like, super fast. So, see this one right here? Like, this one right here, I am looking at that, yeah, but I you know, I'm looking at, like, the other elements now more than that one. You know, my crookedness. Here, let's start off with this one right here. Okay, so one of the things I was talking about with this guy that just picked up kind of his first set, you know, of Stampscape stamps is, you know, we were talking about, you know, different things that he can kind of practice if he wants to, you know what I mean? He's been watching the videos and stuff like that. But I just said, you know, one of the things that you can really kind of, you know, kind of pick up on, and it's really easy to do, is lighting, okay? So, you know, when we're doing lighting like this, or any type of thing, when you're doing a kind of a depiction of light, it changes kind of the spirit of a piece. Okay, so most people we're stamping objects, you know, we're stamping a lake or whatever, or something like that. But if you add in kind of the element of lighting or a little bit of fog or something like that, you know, you're adding in this kind of this element of, like, you know, what photographers are thinking about. They're capturing light, you know. And when we're really out somewhere, that's what we're really seeing. We're really seeing light. It's being bounced off these objects and it's coming back to our eyes. So for me, you know, this area in here, it looks a little bit diffused or something like that. So it's looking at this light from this area and it's coming through, you know, whatever sediments in the air, moisture, dust, or something like that. It's reflecting off of all that. So what I'm getting at here is you're kind of adding in like another, it's a visual sense here, but you're adding in kind of like kinesthetics because you're adding in this atmosphere that's all around us. And then, you know, if you're doing a real foggy scene or something like that, it can, you know, seem a little bit more, you know, because we're referencing it, something maybe on a little bit more of an emotional level. You know, you kind of adding in sound, you know, because on a, you know, certain type of atmospheric situation, fog or whatever, you know, sound tends to dampen out a little bit more. So, I don't know, we're adding in extra senses, and the more sensory types of references you can add into something, the more kind of emotional qualities we can add to it, right? You know, feeling and stuff like that, sound, whatever. You know, everyone usually has kind of a dominant sense. You know, even though we use them, all of them. You know, unless we're, you know, some, you know, doesn't see or something like that or whatever. We're usually referencing all those, you know, different sensory types of things, and the more you have, the more, you know, emotional kind of quality the end piece will become. Anyways, I'm looking at this right here as I'm blabbing away. So I've added these. These leaves up top are a little bit bottom lit because the lighting is coming from underneath them. These rocks underneath the moon are being top lit. You can see I added little top lighting to all these little different types of things around in here. And the moonlight is coming from, you know, the right of these trees. So I have the highlighting on the right side of these trees. And the lighting is coming from the left on these trees. So they're left lit like that. Okay. All right. So let's do the same thing on some of these ones right here. Let's see. Nothing like the last minute pressure to make 100 treat coffins. You're still in Halloween. I'm still into Halloween. Christmas can wait. And I like that. I mean, why not, huh? We still have another 10 days, week and a half, you know? I was at Home Depot buying a lot of things. Man, they have Home Depot has these gigantic animatronic products for sale. Really pretty amazing. Okay, so same thing. Highlights on the sides of the trees, facing the light source like that. And then, you know, we'll add in some of this little bit of highlighting down here through the trees. Here, we'll add in a little bit of shadow work too on these pieces too. I just want to keep these ones kind of minimal though. You know, most of these scenes, you know, keep it really super easy. So there's this little trickling of lighting coming through there like that. I have the dots a little bit denser, you know, up here, and then it kind of dissipates down here. So you put, you know, a little bit more space in between your dots like that, so it kind of transitions a little bit more like that. Second knee replacement in 9 months. Oh my gosh, Debbie. Were there complications then, Debbie, or was it like a second knee? Oh, for your, like, was it your other knee, or was it on the same knee? Or did you say that? Huh. As you're doing those exercises with that, knee or knees, Debbie, um, use your hands for your stamps. Not to make light of it. Yeah, the knee ones are tough. I've known people with the hip replacements. I think I've known a couple people with the knee surgeries, but I know that knees are tougher than the hips, from what I've been told. But I hope you have a nice, boring rehab in terms of no complications. All right, see that right there? There's a little highlighting on the sides of those trees. Facing the moonlight right there. You can put a couple on some of these leaves like this. I mean, we can add other colors into these things too. I've tried that on like especially the autumn ones. Some people like the color, some people liked it more minimally. Most people didn't. It's kind of a toss up. Okay, now this one right here doesn't have any official kind of light source in it, but doesn't mean that there's a light source, coming from outside of the scene, okay? So you just keep it consistent. I'm just doing top lighting right here, so you can see that there's areas on the mountains that are a little bit lighter, so I'm just kind of reiterating that. I'm going real minimally here too because I don't want things to stand out too much here, because you kind of have to keep it consistent, I feel. So if I do a lot of heavy highlighting up here, we're saying that a lot of light is coming into the scene, so I kind of reiterate it down here, okay? All right, just something like that. It just makes it look a little bit more, I don't know, kind of dimensional. Okay, now here, this one's like, that moonlight's kind of peeking out like that. I could do a little bit more highlighting down here too, but let's go across this rooftop like this a little bit, like that. Cabin. I'll darken some of this cabin too here. This one needs some shadow because that one's stamped out really light. Highlighting up here and on the mountain. Let me try something. I'm doing this little sketchy type of application of white right here. Kind of on those mountaintops like that. Here, let me add a little bit more on this one right here. I guess that looks okay. Yeah. And I'll do that here on this cabin top too. I'll keep that same spirit going with the rooftop. All right, like that. Yeah, a little bit more, huh? Okay, and highlights down here. On a full moon night, you wouldn't really see, too many stars, but Who cares? Okay, let's see here. White colored pencil might be even better on here, you know, for these highlighted areas. I usually don't like doing too much of the same thing. To repeat, that's why I don't do like an exchange. You know, I've never done like exchanges where you're exchanging like 10 of the same card to 10 different people. It was like, you know, I can't do that. So, I mean, I can come back to this one, but I don't know. After doing that last one, I really don't feel like doing this one right here because it's almost the same thing. It's like I've already, you know, done that one already, at least for the day. Here, let me get this fence here a little bit, get it to stand out. I'll come back and finish this one off later. But here, I forgot about the fence in here. So I did this one right here. It's like I'm coming to this one. It's almost the same. It's like, oh man, you know, this is so yesterday. Okay, this one's a little bit different. This one's the autumn. So I have this little bank down here. And see, there's all this kind of oscillation of light and dark in here, and I really like doing the tree trunks right in here. Crescent moon, yeah, that would have been a good one, Laura. Let's see. It was on the other knee. Oh, okay, got it. So yeah, that was done purposely. So you just have to rehab one knee at a time then. Yeah, the knee. That's what I've heard. I heard the knees are really tough. I've known, yeah, like I said, I've known a couple people. In fact, I was just talking about hip surgeries today with someone. I think I've known, I don't know, 3 or 4 people to get the hip ones, but I know somewhere along the line we're talking about that in years past. Yeah, people have just mentioned the knees as far as like the rehab on the knees being, you know, tougher. Like my mom had like hip surgery, and she was up and walking around like I don't know, it's like that day, but definitely the next day. It's like almost, you know, oh, it was like practically like back to normal, you know. Back to normal after like I don't know, like 3 days. Okay, so what I'm doing right here is I'm putting these little highlights on the top kind of tufts of foliage, and that's the way it's in the design. See this little line down here? That's in the design, so I'm just kind of reiterating it in there. And then on my tree trunks, I do have on the larger trunks in the design, there are lighter sides of it. Okay, so like this side, it's on the right hand side like that. Let's see those little trunks like that being brought out. And then what you do is down here in the water, you can kind of put in a little bit of that reflective area or object like that. Okay, so you can just lay little check marks like this. You go up and then you go down into the water like that. And then see what those little white things do like that, like right around in here. It really reiterates that kind of reflective type of thing. And especially it's good when you're doing it on top of colored paper, because if you do this like on top of, you know, a white piece of paper, it's not, you know, so you got to put some color into it if you're doing this on a white piece of paper and you're doing color on this. But this one already has tone and everything on the paper itself, so it's just, you know, you can just put these checks in there and get that type of look, you know, like instantly with just the pen without having to do any type of coloring. Not, you know, not that we're, you know, getting rid of white paper and, you know, moving on just to wood grain paper or you know, background colored papers, but yeah, I never really thought about this before, but see, I can put these little highlights on that pattern of the wood in the water. So it's like we're saying that that grain of the paper is like the little I don't know, whatever water pattern there, like that. I don't know. I didn't do a good job of it there, but kind of in theory it would work. Okay, so let's see here. There was something else I was going to add in here. I kind of forgot, though, what that was. Or I don't know. Or are we done? Here. Let's see. See, this is where when I'm starting to do this is what I've talked about with the videos before. All of my dots are kind of like evenly spaced there, like that. We all kind of have this, I don't know about every one of us, but most of the people that, do this, when I look at their pieces, it's like they're doing exactly like I do. Everything is like a 1/4 inch apart or whatever. So I go back in and I specifically kind of cluster, or I'll do, star next to a star, that's much more varied, in terms of the patterning in there, like that. So I know I like that card, even though it's all, I don't know, someone stamped that out a little bit off, but I like my autumn pieces a lot with just that minimal type of thing. Oh, okay, I forgot I was gonna do. So I'm doing highlighting here. So, all right, where's my black pen or colored pencil? Or we can go with like a charcoal or like this. What is this? Dark brown. Okay, so I was going to add a little bit of shading in here. So here's this cabin. I'll just tone the side of the cabin a little bit more. I can put in a little bit of shading on this rock here. Rocky Peaks. Adding a little bit of shadow work in here, it just makes the lighter areas stand out a little bit more. So on something like this, we've added those highlights on the right side of that tree, so we can add a little bit of shadow maybe on the left side, like that, so it transitions a little bit from darker, a little bit lighter, and lightest in those highlights like that. Here's our moon like this. You can add a little bit of shadow work at the base of these trees if you want to. You can do it with a black pen or any color, of that paper right there. Okay, so this is roughly the direction of my shadow, like that. So at the base of this will go down like this way. See, I'm kind of going with the grain of the paper, so I'm trying to do it like this, as opposed to drawing it in like this, even though you want that same angle like that. So see that right there? I've shown this many times. So here's the moon right here, so here's the center of the moon. So this tree like this, that shadow is going to be, here's the base of it right there. So it's going to go roughly like right here, right? Okay, I'll just get it started with this like that, but I'll just add it like this now. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to get the angles down perfectly, except for when you're like stamping out quotes or something like that. You never want to get it off angle. Okay, so see that right there? That little bit of shadow like that? And see this one's going like, this one's like, I got the angle wrong. Let's see. Oh, look at this. So I went this way like this. The angle's really right here on this one. So it's like this whole thing like this. Now, I mean, you could do a hard edge. I usually don't like to, though. I usually like it a little bit solid here and a little bit lighter on the edge of the shadow, like that, okay? And then you add a little bit more tone at the base of the, you have some of this tone going up this way. So if you're doing it with black, then come up, you know, do it black too. Okay, how does that look? Does that look a little bit better? The shadow right here, huh? I had it going like clear over here, so, you know, which the moon would have had to have been over that way, so. You know, like, oh, so in these trees right here, I'll darken in a little bit of the right side, like that, okay? Let's see, these are done. Okay, so at the end of this live stream, I'll be taking all of your addresses and sending all this out to you. We should. I should have some giveaways on these live streams sometimes. I'll have to figure out something to do. Or, I don't know, I'll have a drawing for the actual scene that's being done. All right, see that little, can you see a little difference in that mountain there? Yeah, I don't know, did that change it, you know, in terms of the, kind of the gist of it a little bit? I kind of like this dark brown is working pretty good on this paper. Usually, I was grabbing for my black pencil, which is buried under, you know, something on my desk here, but yeah, the dark brown looks pretty decent on this. This one could use some little figure in here, like that kayak or something like that. My spirit is in the mountains, but there's no figure here. It doesn't have to be, but it would seem like it would be a little bit more transportive to put a figure in there. Had a double knee replacement and she recovered really well. That's awesome, Patty. They just said, hey, we're just going to get it, you know, over with at one time, huh? You have some rehab exercises that you're doing, you know, several times a day, Debbie? Are you being good too in doing them? Where'd Jeannie go? Is Jeannie still on? Is she still on the machine watching this video? Jeannie's on the elliptical getting some range of motion in while watching the vid. I'm going to do something right here, just a little gist of it. I'm doing this little shadow coming out this way so that this seems like it's funneling kind of light in through that way. Like that. See that right there? I just kind of add a little bit like that, and then you leave it lighter down here, so it's like follow the illuminated, you know, whatever. It's not the yellow brick road, but... All right, here, these rocks right here. These rocks in the where is it? In the design itself, okay. You know, there's darker areas of it inherently, okay, in the design itself. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just going in, I'm looking to see where it's darker, and I'm just going over it with the pen in that area. The areas that are lighter, I'm just leaving light. Now, I mean, that's just the starting point. So if you don't know where to color, it's like, okay, how do you shade this? You shade the darker areas, you know, just to begin with. So like in these little bushes down here, you know, it's kind of on the bottom side of them, okay? Or where it's darker, you're just making that darker area a little bit richer with a little bit of colored darkness, or an additional color of darkness like that, okay? But like I said, you know, on this paper, I don't do too much to it because it's already kind of, I don't know, whatever. It's already rich in tonal transitions as well as texture and patterning, like that. All right, let's see. Okay, let's see if I can get this moon right here. It's going down this way. This one's almost like a 90-degree, just directly down. So this tree right here, going like this. When you do that, you're turning it in space. So you're doing a depiction of light like that. Trees over here. Those trees are really dark, but you can give it a richer shaded area like that. And then our angles are going to be pretty extreme on this one, okay? I usually go from the center of the moon like that. Okay, so this is going to go like this. Going like that. I'm just using a pen. You can use a piece of paper like this too. You can go like this. And then you angle it up right here. And here's this other tree right here, right? Okay, so you just go right down to the base and you can just go like this. Like I said, I usually don't like a harsh line like that, so I'm just going with a really light touch like this. But then when I get over here, where it's darker, then I'll use, a little bit more force. So this right here, see that little bit of light coming through like that? It's because, this one shadow starts right here, and this one ends right there. Like that, okay? Oh, and okay, so here's this little tree right here, casting a little bit of shadow. This one you just gotta fake it right here, Here's this elk, and I'll just kind of cast a little bit of shadow like that. Here's this tree right here, and it just looks like something like that. Just so it's, I don't know, whatever, it's taken part in the, I don't know, whatever the lighting scheme, I guess. And didn't I just do this one? Nicole? Happy mail, yeah. Okay, a little bit of shadow. I kind of forgot about shading, little canoeist like that. See this like a harder, little bit of a shadows on that. I think it made that moon seem a little bit brighter or lighter. Like that here. There's a little bit of shadow at the base of this. Kayaker like this, like so. All right. I mean, these things do not take a long time to do. I'm just doing like 45 of them here. Let's take a look at them. I'm sure I kind of forgot to tone in some of these. This one I toned in minimally. But, I don't know, you can really crank them out. Okay, now this one I didn't do. I'll do that one later. I don't know. It's like, the cabin with fence. I already did that one. Oh, here, this is bothering me. I want to just make that a little bit. I didn't add the highlights on this one either. That one got lost in the shuffle. There you go. I think on this one I might add another. I think I might add my really tiny elk in the background there. It's like they're looking at each other, eyeballing each other or something. These moons, though, I don't know, they worked out pretty good. That one, it'd be kind of cool to have that moon coming right in there. What do we have here? We got 5, 6, 7, 8 scenes, and not two, I don't know. How long have we been on for? So 5 hours. That's not, too bad. No. But I don't know, that's 2 hours, though. I don't know. Time flies when you're having fun. Let's see what we have here. I'm working hard with the rehab. That's the key to good recovery. Yeah. That sure is. I spent a lot of time. My dad had a stroke, so I spent a lot of time in the rehab center because he was in there forever. But yeah, Saul is physical therapists and everyone, working with everyone all the time. It's like, wow, that's really something. But what they say, it's like, whatever you do in the rehab center, it's all right and fun and dandy and stuff like that. But it's all what you do kind of, outside of the treatments and things like that, or if you have in-home visits or whatever. But yeah, that sounds good, Debbie. I'm sure you'll be back to, back to better than new, right? Post surgery here. I have this little pencil right here. Let me see something like this one too. So this is a little bit of a softer look, because it's a little bit more of a, it's almost like a white charcoal pencil or something like this. This isn't a white, it's not a white colored pencil. It's like almost like, I don't know what this is. It was in like my art supplies. It's almost like a Conte crayon or something in a pencil form. I feel like I'm adding kind of like a white pigment ink touch to this because it's so soft looking. Let me see if I can add a little bit of like fog with it down here. Now, okay, since I'm adding this, if I want, you know what I mean? If I'm going to do this, I would spray seal it afterwards because this is like adding like white charcoal. I guess it's more like white charcoal or something like this, but it's that little kind of foggy essence. Nah, that's a little bit too much. I just looked at it when I'm looking at it straight like this, but I looked up at the the screen. That's like, oh, that's too much, like that. But when you do spray seal it, a lot of it disappears. So be mindful of that. Adding some around that moon like that. Okay. I think that is it. I mean, when I'm looking at these things, it occurs to me there's more things that I can do. But one of the things about these types of papers like this, I think they look really good simple too, just with kind of minimal types of applications. Some of these I added more things, just kind of experimenting around here. But my initial kind of, I don't know, whatever observation on these things, one of these videos, I tried to see how much tone and brightness and coloring I could do with one of them. And then when I looked at it later, I thought it looked okay at the time, but when I looked at it later, it's like, it looked really overworked to me, where I like the simplicity of just kind of minimal applications on them better. You know what I mean? I don't know, maybe it highlights the character of the paper, if you don't do too much to it, because that's kind of one of the things about working with that paper is because we want that grain in there. So, yeah, I just think just, a few minimal types of things like that, it makes enough of a statement that I don't feel they need, too much or anything more, I guess. And I ended up liking this one quite a bit. Let's see here. See, that's nice and straight like that, see? All right, let's see here. I had 2 in 2 years. Oh, huh. Is that on your knees, Linda? 125 bend in my second week. Oh, is that what they do with the knee surgeries? You're doing they're measuring angles so you can kind of measure your improvement like that. That's interesting. Oh, it's to get the legs straight. Oh, I see. when I use my colored pencils and go back and forth quickly like you do, I end up seeing lines on mine. How much pressure are you using, Patty? I'm not an expert on colored pencils. And remember, I'm kind of going back and forth on mine over a textured, patterned paper, so I might have... Well, let me see here. I mean, here, if I'm doing this... Okay, so this is kind of flat too, right? I'm not doing it with that sharp edge like this. But I'm also going very lightly, okay? So let's see if I can get it really light. Let's see if I can get a transition here going from kind of darker to lighter like that. But I don't know. You know, there's a little bit of line work in there. But if I use the flat side of it like this, you know, I can get a much smoother kind of application like that. And I'm just keep using that same, you know, kind of flat edge on there. But if I want, you know, a real detailed area, then I will go in with that sharper edge like that. But I don't know, the Prismas, my old Prismas, they're pretty soft, so I don't know. But, you know, even if I did get kind of like, you know, a textured application of it, I don't think we could see it because the tree is so textured anyway. And I'm doing it over, you know, a paper that's not too far in contrast away from this color right here, where maybe if I'm going on with this and these compositions are stamped down on a white piece of paper, where my marks are much more, you know, prominent and distinct because it's, you know, the contrast between the pencil and the paper is just so extreme, I might be, you know, become more aware of a, you know, a textured, you know, application. I don't know. Yeah. But just, I don't know, play up, you know. And also, you know, you can use your side, you know. So pencils, you know, we use pencils like this, and I do, okay? But one of the things they teach you in school, too, is, you know, ideally you'd be working it like this type of look. So you go like this, and you're doing kind of a different application, you know, of, you know, your ink. And then if you want to go for a stronger look, then you can just angle it up a little bit more. I never did that, you know, I don't know, unless the teacher was coming around or something like that, you know, but that's the way we'd hold things like, I don't know about pencils. Well, no, it was pencils because we would be using graphite all the time, but we'd be using graphite sticks and charcoals too. So I don't know, you can try, you know, these different things, but also, you know, for me, I try to adjust my pressure, especially like that. So, yeah. If that's what you meant. Let's see. Will you make these into cards or sometimes the slow crafter? So I did some and I matted them. I found that I had some tan paper and I don't know which one. It was like a, yeah, I think it's this one right here. So here's this tan, and you can see like stark white copy paper like that. So I found the combination that I liked the best was this tan paper like that. Okay, now I do that little type of border like that around there because the thing that I'm bringing out a lot of times in my pieces is because I use those white paint pens or, you know, in this case, a little bit more of a beige paint pen. That thing right there brings out those little highlights like that to me, okay? And then I liked the gold around on the perimeter like this, so it's kind of like this type of look right here. Like that. I don't know, that was my combination right there. With that, it almost looks greenish like that. I don't know, in the right light here. I'm working under all fluorescent lights here, so that looks kind of weird like that. But I like that kind of blingy look right there, especially when I'm doing kind of those more minimal types of things in there. And plus, I don't know, I'm just saying that because that's what I happen to have. I have, you know, I buy this by the 60 pack, and it's really cheap. And so I have a lot of that. So You know what I mean? I'd dip into things like my Stardream metallic, iridescent papers before. But, like Stardream papers, yeah, like super expensive now. So I don't use my Stardream papers just for a little bit of it, like a whole sheet, of underneath something just for that border like that. But something like this might have looked really cool with that kind of Stardream iridescent, like gold or something like that. I think that would look really good. I haven't looked at it because I'm not going to do that, but something like that would be really good. But I had this paper like this that I almost never use, so I've been using it a lot for that. Okay, on these ones right here, I don't know if I'm going to do that or not because I'm just kind of sending these out with like these different orders that come in, and I'll send them, a few sheets of it along with it, so I can just test it out. So I don't know. I see these just as like little, like super quick, examples, so they can, they can feel it. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I sometimes too, when I'm sending these out with a few extra sheets like this, they can see what this looks like. You know what I mean? They can make a comparison, to the piece of paper like that. I don't know if they want to mount it, mount, they can. I did do it on some of mine, but the ones that I've been just kind of mass producing like this and sending them out, I'm just leaving it like this. And then I've just been, putting them in a little bit of a thing. I just kind of pack them together like this. I don't know. Hopefully people are pulling them out so they can see that, I sent them some, paper along with it. Now that I think about it, I don't know, maybe people are just leaving it in there, my card in that little, whatever, that clear envelope. So I don't know, a lot of people I'm sending an email to, hey, I sent out your order and I'm sending you some wood grain paper. Some people say, hey, yeah, I bought it already. It's like, okay, well, you got like 2, 3, 4 extra pieces coming to you. The lead on your pencil might be harder than what Kevin uses. Might be. Yeah. I buy a soft core pencil that worked better for me. Oh. As opposed to hardcore pencil, Linda? No, just joking. I was wondering if it was the paper, but I'm thinking you're right about pressure. I probably use too much. Use lighter touch. So, Patty, imagine you're using a colored pencil on like a 3-year-old's face. I know I do use that joke or that analogy though for when people are applying like inks with like a cotton ball or sponge or paper towel. Sometimes people say, "Hey, I just have way too heavy of a hand." And I just tell them, "Hey, if you're putting makeup on a little baby, you know what I mean, you're gonna have control over that, and it's not like I can't help but press into their their skin, you know what I mean." But I think what it is, okay, so here's one of the things, okay, when I'm applying like inks on like for these moons or something like that, if I don't have, I tell people to almost use a dry brush type of effect, when they're doing stuff like this. And so here's what it is. This is what I think is going on with really light, delicate applications of media, okay? So when we're doing something like that, okay, this is completely dry here. People are, we're accustomed to going on with a Copic marker or whatever, or stamping out something, and it is that color, right? And it's that value of that color and intensity of it. It's a full value of it, okay? But when you're doing something like pencils or graphite or charcoals and stuff like that, where we can get varying values out of those types of things. We can barely see any of it. So sometimes people go with a heavier hand because we want to see what we're applying down there faster. Okay, so then we use harder pressures, or something like that to expedite the process of getting a visual of what we're doing. So, just be conscious of that, you know what I mean? Slowing it down. Now, I mean, sometimes, like me, it's like I need to apply more I'm not getting anything. So yeah, then, apply more pressure or put more ink on that. But see, something like that, and it especially comes into play when doing something like this, where I'm teaching people how to dry brush media or dry tap or whatever you call it, dry sponge or whatever, media onto a scene to really just use a really light touch and to get the degree of your application of however much you want to apply in a slower, more gradual process. It doesn't have to be super slow. I'm talking about, here I'm adding it down here, and I want a little bit in this foreground right here. I'm not talking about like taking 5 minutes to do it, but that took like, I don't know, like 10 minutes or 10 seconds to get that little bit down there. You know what I mean? So, instead of getting it in 2 seconds with a heavier hand or stronger force on a piece of pencil, just extend it out, 5 times that and take 10 seconds to do it or something like that. And you'll just have more control over it that way. And then when you get the feel of it, you can go faster and stuff like that. I know how much ink is in my pad, so I know how much to get it down. I can get it down, at a much faster rate or something like that. But yeah, just when we're doing those kind of lighter touches and we're going for 5% versions of our media, whatever it might be, with a colored pencil, I might be going for, I want to transition it, so I want it in like that 2% version of it. I don't know, whatever that is. And then I want it in 10 and go into 20, 30, 40. I don't know. This is probably like 50 right there. I had to extend this out. I think I went a little bit too dark, but see, I want those, those values of it right there sometimes, like, in this zone right here. You know what I mean? I want that real light application of it so that I can get, that, so we can expand on the tonal range possibilities from one color like that without having to switch into another color, which we can do too. You can use a much harder version of a lighter tone just to get that same value that would require a lighter touch with the darker version of it. You know what I mean? I don't know. So yeah, if you're getting, I don't know. You didn't mention, getting too dark. You mentioned, the lines, but you can go with a lighter version of it too. Like I said, and then if you're getting lines, then you just fill in more with the lighter version of it. Just so it doesn't get too dark. But anyway, hold something like an eraser in your non-dominant hand. This eases your grip on the pencil. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. Hold something like an eraser in your non-dominant hand. So you're saying on your opposite hand then? And when you're doing something like that? Huh. It's not misunderstanding that. But that's pretty interesting. So hold your cat, if you're right-handed, in your left hand. That's pretty cool. Hello, Jen. Thanks for jumping on. Good to see you. I use almost all Prismacolors. They seem soft, but maybe I should find a different brand. The Prismacolors I'm using is the old barrel Prismacolors, and when people started, I pulled my Prismacolors out of, I don't know, whatever, mothballs. I'd say about 2 years ago or something like that when I started using them a lot more. So people were asking me about colored pencils, and I have no idea about them, okay? Back when I bought my colored pencils, I think there were two brands. One was the Prismacolors, which I think were the cheaper ones. And then, what was it, Faber-Castell or something like that, where those, they seem more arty and more expensive or something like that. But now there's so many brands out there. But, okay, so I went on a few different colored pencil, what do you call them? Not message boards, but I don't know, on some of these things. And I read a lot of the comments, and I think I posted a question too. I don't know where it was, but so someone gave me the breakdown of it, and they thought that, yeah, these colored pencil artists felt that the Prismacolors were still the softer ones. I don't know. You guys can tell me that. I have no idea, but it seems like a lot of people like that real kind of buttery consistency. So I don't know. It seems like some manufacturers should just come out, and say, okay, this is the softest colored pencil, that's out there, that's not so soft that it's going to just absolutely break, but the closest softness to, that you can easily handle, that's going to perform well. It seems like that would do really well. I don't know. We're getting into is like something else too. I don't know. People were talking about like, so I watched several videos on with people talking about like counterfeit colored pencils or Prismacolors. So people are doing like these tests, but someone else said, hey, the Prismacolor, whoever owns Prismacolors or Premiers, they switched manufacturers too. So, the different new manufacturer might be different from the old one. So that new manufacturer, while it's still Prismacolors, they're not counterfeits, but they're just the old ones. Or I don't know. And then there's like super cheap ones out there, like on Temu or something like that. So I don't know. You'd have to watch some videos, but if it comes down to like the whatever the softness rating of that, I don't know. You might watch a few videos on people that just that's like all they're doing on it's like colored pencil video channels out here on YouTube. So I don't know. I'm not one to ask about that. If people have like two different types of colored pencils, they have one more than I do. I think. Or do I have more? Let me see something here. Oh yeah, I do have these ones right here. These ones are the Design Spectre color, so I haven't even used them. This foam right here is all stuck on these, so you can see I haven't used a single one. So I don't know. Does anyone know about these? See, they're brand new, and I haven't a clue of where I bought these from either, or where I got them from. But they've been sitting around for a long time. I don't know. I mean, here. So I don't want to bore people, but let me see right here. So let's see. Oh my God, this is the most buttery, smooth colored pencil I've ever used in my life. No, I'm just joking. I don't know. This one feels. I don't know. But hey, I don't know colored pencils. I've just been using them for a short time. It was required for us to buy them in some drawing class. I think like beginning drawing and like in college in our freshman year. It's like we not only didn't use them in that class, but no other class ever, called for it again. So. And I wasn't really using them in stamping too. I like the brightness of dye-based inks more and the saturation, but I don't know. I don't know. I've softened in my old age. I don't know I don't know. It feels, I don't know, the same as this one to me. But I'm not referencing too much other than my one pack of the the Prismacolors. So I don't know. Design Spectre color. Do they even still make them? I don't know. Okay, this is USA. Were these actually manufactured in the USA? I guess that was warm gray, dark. Huh. I don't know. I guess I was thinking, so some of my colored pencils are starting to wear down. I feel like I'm in like a some elementary class or something like that where my purple, purple and blue or purple and my purple crayon was always worn down, you know what I mean? But like, I don't know, like brown or so, I don't know, like gray was always like, you know, like the full stick was left at the end of class. Well, some of my like blues and things like that are starting to thing, but I don't know. I guess I have no problem using the, you know, the Spectre colors. And then there's, you know, the watercolor pencils too. I knew someone that just used watercolored pencils for their colored pencil work, just but they didn't use the water soluble whatever ability of them. She just liked it because she felt that the the watercolored pencils were softer than colored pencils, so she just used that. So I don't know. I guess there's another option for you as well. Use almost all such great. Not the set. Now what is this right here? See, this is what I was talking about right here. Prismacolor pens, loved them, but not the set I bought. Wait. You're saying you bought the cheaper Prisma set than Linda? So I don't know. Is that what there people are talking about, like counterfeit Prismacolors or something like that, or I don't know, or whatever? Hello, sweetie Isabird. Good to see you. I'm back on. I have to head back up to LA though on Monday again, so I'm not sure when I'll be back. I'm almost done up there though. Several different brands of colored pencils and still use Prismas most. Okay, well why, Bill? Is it the color? Is it the look of them, or is it the whatever the softness? What do they call the soft? Is there a term for the softness rating? It's not viscosity. That's like liquids. Crafter's Companion, Sarah Davies. Okay, is that? I thought you were saying Spectrum Noir. Is that what I said? I might have said it. Design Spectra Color. I'm guessing Design is the brand and Spectra Color is the line. I don't know. I just noticed these have that kind of that new pencil smell, even though these are probably like 30 years old. But I've never used them though. I think I wait here. Design Spectra announcement. You may notice that our Design Spectra Color artist pencils have taken on a slightly new look. The discontinued look of the black stain in the wood of the barrel promotes a healthy environment for our craftsmen to produce this high quality product. There's no. Oh, this is Eberhard Faber ink. So that must be the Faber Castell. I don't know. There's been so much. I don't know, whatever teaming up or consolidation of the art, industry. And this was like probably 20 years ago. I don't remember even when I got that one. So, yeah. All right. So, okay, the softness and the results. Okay, so Prismacolors. So Bill's got several brands. He's saying that the Prisma are softer, to him. Okay, it's not the cheaper Prisma colored pencils. Okay. I love Shuttle Art, by the way, but not their colored pencils then. Okay, that's good to know. I had Shuttle Art. It was the gel pens, was it? I think, or maybe they were at my alcohol pens or whatever. Yeah. So good for color, coloring, probably a good adult coloring book maybe, or something like that with those colored pencils or pens. I use color pencils over watercoloring from a dye ink source to return definition to the stamped image. Okay, let me read that again. I use colored pencils over watercoloring from a dye ink source to return. If I use artist watercolors, I don't need to redefine. Oh, huh. Now why, Nicole? it's not like blurring then the imagery. I need to know these things. Although I forget it, like, I have a really bad memory. Unless I do something a few times, But I've been doing like so many different media. It occurred to me, even though I was doing like a lot of videos, then if I'm doing them all the time, I might remember, but I started using so many different mediums at one point in time. I'm not talking about like I got permanently confused and couldn't remember a thing, but there was something, I think I was using foils or something like that. Oh, I think it was the vintage paper. And I forgot that I was using, I think, more of the Brilliance ink with that vintage paper than the StazOn or something like that. So I was like, wait, I'm not getting as dark of an impression or something like that. So anyways, I should make notation of all these different types of things like this. Okay. The dye-based watercolors fade out. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. So you redefine it, or return definition with the pencils. Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. That's what I do sometimes with my, not with, talking about certain things, but with the same media, but that's what I do with the paint pens, especially with something like this. If I'm coloring these things right here, I use the paint pens to redefine definition for sure. Or I think I've mentioned this in grasses too. If I'm using a white piece of paper and I'm adding tons of tone, grassy tones, earthy tones, or something like that down in that grassy area, for me, I get the same type of thing. So redefining kind of something that's gotten a little bit more obscure is really important for that everything, definition and textural contrasts in an area. The dye-based watercolors, the dye-base tends to flood out detail. Got it. The surface texture of different papers definitely makes a difference too. That's a good point. So yeah. And I have that's something that I just really haven't had too much experience with. Who is it on the Facebook group? Is Astrid? Astrid's like, yeah, like the master of like super textured papers. I don't know if it's linen, but she's used linens and linen-like papers at least, and I don't know, maybe even watercolor papers or something like that. But yeah, I mean, those papers that have a little bit more tooth to it for colored pencils, that would be ideal for it. And I used to see a lot of people using colored pencils too. Colored pencils were often the media of choice for stamping on top of envelopes on that type of paper. Just your uncoated, inexpensive white envelope paper. People weren't making their own envelopes back then either. I'm talking about like the 80s, and early 90s of stamping, because mail art, MAIL art, was so popular. And colored pencils were ideal for that one. Hello, Susan. Good to see you. All right, folks. I think we'll call it a live session here. It's really great to see everyone back on. I haven't been on live, and it feels like a gazillion years. Even when I haven't been stamping, sometimes for like a couple days, it feels like it's been like a week. So it really felt like a long time here for me. But yeah, really having fun. I need to break away from this paper. I haven't gotten burnt out on the wood grain paper yet. But this is a really fantastic go-to paper. Let's say if you haven't done anything for a while too. What I always recommend to people, if you have like a go-to composition, often for me it was Lakeside Cove large, just stamping on you know, whatever, white cardstock or something like that and coloring it in. But I don't know, like stamping, you know, like if you just want to get back in the hang of it, it's like, okay, I need to get re-inspired. I want to get back into stamping, but oh my God, what do I do? I just keep something really simple. It doesn't have to be landscape stamping either, but I would recommend doing something on top of some sort of colored pattern paper maybe. It doesn't have to be pattern paper, but I'm finding something like this type of paper is a really fantastic option for a, you know, just getting back in the swing of it because, you know, after you stamp out your imagery, you're really close to, you know, having a complete, you know, whatever visual statement. I mean, you could stop at just the impressions if you want to, or you can add in these little extra little bits, you know, as far as you want it to go. I mean, this one right here is like super minimal. And like I said, it doesn't need all those little sparkly little highlights on there. But if you want to, you know, you can do it. But it's something that's just a matter of getting back into, you know, just the swing of things and getting things in your hand and seeing something develop, you know, that could be kind of inspiring in itself. It's like, you know, you create like, I don't know, whatever muscle memory or whatever in your hands too. And working with things like that too, and just touching things. It's kind of a kinesthetic memory as well as, you know, people think of it's like when you think about it and just can't get it kind of motivated. I think you're thinking about it in terms of like theory and something like a visual thing. But for me, it's like kinesthetic, you know, and holding things, you know, and I don't know, like I said, you know, you can get, you know, these really fast results, you know, instantly and get kind of more of an emotional reaction, you know, faster. You're letting you let some of the media do the work for you, you know, which is pretty cool. All right, good night, everyone. Hope you have a great rest of weekend. Thanks for joining in. Hope to see you in the next live, whenever that is. All right, good night, everyone. Oh, if you have any comments or if you find anything about, you know, colored pencils or something like that, or, you know, have some good tips for us, add it down into the, like the comments section, you know, below this video. You know, it'd be a really great reference for, really for us all, me included. So, yeah. All right, Slow Crafter, thanks again. Thanks again for joining in. Good night, Susan, and good night to everyone else. Thanks again for tuning in to the channel. It was a fun time.